What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Miller. I'm really pumped to be on today. I'm going to give you guys some value when it comes to the side of nutrition. I've really been locking in for the last 6 to 8 weeks further and deeper into my nutrition. I always have eaten really well. I've always strived to eat healthy. It's always been a big part of me, but there's times that ebb and flow where I give myself a little bit more leniency. There's times when I lock in a little bit more. There's times where I'm really focusing on the quality of foods, even more so outside of my total caloric intake. So I ebb and flow with my nutrition, even though I'm mostly being healthy with it all the time anyway. But the last 6 to 8 weeks, I have been really locking in, and I'm feeling really good, and I'm feeling the benefits of it. And so today, I want to go over the simplicity of nutrition. If you're struggling at times to even know where to start, that is a real thing, and people struggle with that because there's so much information out there. There is a lot of good things you can do. I actually teach several different approaches to clients depending on what their situation is, what their schedules are like. And so there is many different ways that you can be successful with this, but I want to simplify some thought processes for you, because if you have a bad relationship with food or you struggled in the past, then it's hard to move forward with things. What do I mean by a bad relationship with food? Well, if you are consuming food and feeling guilty about it, or you have this dependency on food in a certain way or certain types of food where you then feel negative and you don't feel good, there is bad relationships with food. And so when people often even get into wanting to be healthier and eat better, or just maybe that's not even their goal, but their goal is to lose weight, sometimes when we have a poor relationship with food, that's then really, it stops us from doing it the right way. I've had so many people over the last decade come to me who are trying to lose weight, and they're like, well, I really don't eat much during the day. And it's like, well, you don't gain weight. You don't put on 50, 100 extra pounds by not eating much. It is not possible. The law of thermodynamics says otherwise. And so there is obviously some chronic diseases and things like that that play a part, but that is not the statistical reason why people are in an obese state or an overweight state. And so this poor relationship with food oftentimes goes into, well, they wake up in the morning, the goal is I want to lose weight today. And in their minds, we eat less in order to lose weight. And so we skip a breakfast, then we don't eat lunch, and then we get most of the day gone and we haven't eaten hardly anything. And so then we get into supper time, we get home from work and we eat supper, and then we realize how hungry we actually are. And then this starts this process. We eat lunch, we eat supper, and we eat a little extra supper, and then we have dessert, and we sit down, we hang out, and we have a snack, and we have this, and we jump in the cupboard, and this window from 6 to midnight, or 6, whatever that is this window of just overconsumption. And it's because we didn't eat anything in the first half of the day, and then we have no self-control in the evenings. Our hunger is so out of control. And then we start the whole cycle tomorrow. I overweight, I don't feel good, my stomach's messed up, I go to bed, I'm gonna do better tomorrow. And you end up doing the same thing because I need to eat less. I need to not eat in order to lose weight. And so how do we simplify this? Well, we need to simplify this by knowing a little bit about food. And so I wanna just let's break down today, like we were gonna eat 3 meals in a day. I'm just gonna break it down as simple as I can for you and give you some things to think about nutritionally. So what is our food all made up of? Our food is made up of macronutrients. You've probably heard that word before and you're like, dude, I don't understand this. And maybe you do have a little bit of grasp on it, but we need to understand this because when you're constructing your plate of food to eat, you need to see that in order to help you with all of the goals, whether it's losing fat, whether it's putting on muscle, whether it's I want better energy, I want to sleep better, I want to recover better, I want my hormones to be regulated better. All of these things that matter, that food helps us with, it all matters. And so when we're constructing our plate, we need to see this and understand this. So There's 3 macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats. That's what makes up food. Now we also have the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, and things like that. But for the most part, calorically, we have protein, carbs, and fats. Okay, so that's what we're gonna focus on today. So when I'm constructing my plate of food, my main thing that I'm gonna build it around is my protein. Every meal I'm going to have protein. I'm not gonna have it without it. Every cell in my body, every cell in your body is comprised and made up of protein. We need it for so many reasons. And one of the big reasons too is that having that feeling of satiety, feeling full. And so when we're feeling full, then we're less apt to go binge eat. We're less apt to eat more garbage later on because we have that feeling of fullness. So protein is so important for that reason. That will help you. Okay, so constructing my plate of protein. Well, what do we have for protein options? Well, breakfast, what is a great option? We have eggs, right? We have Canadian bacon. We have these things that are wonderful options. So if we're looking at protein as a whole, we can easily be like, okay, we have egg as an option. We have beef as an option. We have chicken as an option. We have turkey as an option. We have pork and all of the different things with pork. We have all of the different fishes. So we have each one of these animals. We have each one of a byproduct of an animal. And then we have all the different cuts. We have all the different ways, burger and steak and all the different types of steak. And so we have so many options that you can start picking and choosing from, okay, that are our protein source. Okay, so that's the first macronutrients right there. Secondly, then I think about my fat. And for me, this is really easy because I want my fat to come from mainly the animal sources. This simplifies my life because now I'm not adding another thing to my plate. And from a health perspective, I do think that when our fat sources come from our meat sources, they're the best options that we have. And so think about this. We have our egg and our egg's sitting there. So we have protein in the white and protein in the yolk, which is great, but there's also fat in the yolk. So if I have my protein on my plate, which is my eggs, I also have my fat then too. If I have my protein on my plate, that's my beef. Beef is a little bit higher in fat, so I have my fat there as well. Okay, now let's say I want to cook some chicken or fish that's super low in fat. I can cook that in butter, a natural source right there, and I'm getting my fat. So this becomes super easy. Avocados, amazing fat. So now, instead of always going to, I need to add in more nuts or peanut butter into my diet to get in more fat source. I need to measure that really good, otherwise my fat sources get out of control. I can mainly rely on what I'm already having my protein as my fat source. And so that gets really easy for me then. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking in peanut butter or nut sources or things like that for your fat. I just think it's a better option to take it in from the animal source. Doesn't mean I don't eat peanut butter. Doesn't mean I don't do those things. It's just a majority of mine come from my meat sources, okay? So that is really simple. That leaves then one thing. That leaves carbohydrates then yet to put on my plate. This is so easy too because there's like carbohydrates in everything. But from a health perspective, I'm trying to go vegetables. I'm trying to go fruits as my main carbohydrate sources versus high processed things that are coming from bags, containers and things like that. So I want as whole food as I can get. So fruits and vegetables. I'm looking at having potatoes on my plate. I'm looking at all the berries. I'm looking at all the different fruits, adding some raw honey to that, adding some real maple syrup to that if I need to get in more carbohydrates. Okay, so this becomes super easy. I look at my plate, I see that I have my meat source. I look at the type of meat source it is and I see that there's higher fat or lower fat in that. From there, I know I can cook it in butter or something like that to add in another natural thing. And then boom, I'm adding my fruit, I'm adding my vegetable, I'm having some raw honey, and I'm set. I have my protein, carbs, and fats so easily right there. That makes up a whole meal, okay? And so every one of those macronutrients do something for us. The carbohydrates give us energy. They're our generator, okay? It gives us energy. We don't want to live life without carbohydrates. Be taking those in, okay? We do not need to be afraid of those. We need to be taking them in the right amounts. Okay, our fats, they help us with our hormone regulation, so many different things, our thought processes. And so we want to be taking in fats. We don't want to eliminate those things. Our protein helps us recover. It helps us with satiety. It helps all of those things. It helps us build muscle mass, maintain lean muscle tissue. And then they all work synergistically and help each other do their functions. They work together. That's why we want to consume them together as well. And so that it just starts to simplify things. But remember, just because we're simplifying nutrition doesn't mean it doesn't take effort. That can be the hang up, is sometimes you can be like, oh, I thought this was going to be easy. Well, it is easier. It doesn't mean it's convenient, because convenience has become such the powerhouse, driving through a drive-thru and getting our food, going to a buffet and getting our food, buying pre-made meals at Costco and just warming them up in the microwave. Not necessarily bad things, but is there better things that help us live beyond average? That's the point. We're living beyond average. And so are some of these packaged things, what they're packaged in, all the toxins and things like that, all the processing it takes for that food to actually be stable and not go bad in that package, is that our best option? Is it an option? Yes, but is it our best option that we can do versus just buying a steak and cooking it ourselves? By buying a potato and slicing it 6 times and putting it in the oven for 25 minutes. Like, these things aren't hard. They're very simple, but they take effort. And so just because we're simplifying the nutrition does not mean it does not come without taking effort. We're putting effort into this. We're not looking for the road of convenience all the time, because we want to live a life beyond average. It's going to yield a result different from everybody else that is doing it the standard way. That's doing it the way that it's socially accepted, the social norm way. But that's not why you're actually listening to this podcast. You're listening to it because you want some sort of value. You want some sort of peace that can help you live beyond average. And so you can receive this and be like, yeah, actually, some of this was review for me. I know that I'm supposed to be doing it that way. It wasn't new information, Jordan. It's actually really basic, simple information. But this reminder helped me. And so we can take that reminder and we can really run with it. I'm also here to just continue to help encourage you with it. If you're taking this a week down the road and you're like, man, I'm really starting to feel better, you can reach out to me. You're feeling better, but you're like, I'm still not quite sure. I'm not quite getting that result I want. Reach out to me. This is what I do. I help construct people's nutrition plans and their training plans according to their lifestyle, according to their schedule with work and things like that. This is what I do. So just reach out to me at jordan@run2gun.com so I can help you. Okay? There's going to be pieces with this when you're switching, because maybe you haven't done anything nutritionally in a year, 5 years, 10 years, and you're dependent on different foods, on sugar, on all of these things, and you start adjusting and having a detox away from this dependency. And you might not feel good that first week or two. Your body's going to be in a shock and awe, and you might not feel good at all. But if you can round that corner, you're going to look back and be like, I don't remember the last time I felt this good. But we have to round that corner of that detox. It's that detoxing away from everything we've always done. We have to push away from everything we've always done and get through that discomfort. Okay, so I just want to encourage you through that you can do that and get into feeling better than you felt that you can even remember. I promise you that will be the result. And that's going to help you live beyond average. That's going to catapult you into that life. So I want to encourage you with that today, that this nutrition, we can simplify it, but believe that it takes some effort, but we can simplify this and really live a life beyond average. You guys, I hope this serves you today. I hope it helped you. And if this is meant to get the mind rolling, get you thinking, take it, run with it, share it with a friend so it helps them as well. Have a great rest of your day.